Welcome back to Pickleball Journey. Today we have a brand new pickleball player here, Victoria. We're excited to give her a lesson, so let's jump right in. Quick, we're giving away this brand new Engage Pursuit paddle. Stay tuned where we share the details of how you can win. All right, so we're getting right in. We're giving Victoria a lesson here. She's never played before. Yep. So we're gonna start looking at her shots, and then we'll get into some analysis. So Elisha's gonna hit some with her here.
Right? So we're gonna come right up to the kitchen line, which is this line right here.
Yep, that kitchen line.
And you're just gonna try to hit it so it lands right in front of me. Okay, we're just gonna see what you got.
Nice. Great, some forehands, hit some backhands now, just to get her some backhands here.
Here we go.
And now Victoria comes from a sports background, so she's definitely got the athleticism for pickleball. She'll pick it up pretty quick here, you can already tell.
Yeah, I can tell you got
good
some
hand-eye
coordination.
Now, my first question for Victoria, how does the grip feel just kind of holding the paddle? Does the paddle feel comfortable in your hand? Okay, good.
Yep. One adjustment I'm going to make right off the bat here is that you're a little bit what I would call a semi-Western, okay? And so the danger of being here is that we're going to be a little bit harder on ourselves when we're transitioning to the backhand with a semi-Western. So a semi-Western to hit a backhand is like very uncomfortable. And we want the same grip on our forehand and our backhand. So I would either switch to an Eastern, which is slightly with your, let's get your hand right here. So the knuckle here is semi-Western. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shift it loosen your hand just a little bit and shift it over just like that. So that way it's still comfortable, it's close to the semi-Western, but you're gonna also be able to hit a backhand with the same grip. Does that make sense? Okay. So to slightly over, yeah.
Right.
And so that's not like massive difference, just a slight, so that you can hit backhands more effectively.
And the best way I think of the grips is if you just take your hand and put it right down here, that's more of that Western grip.
Yep.
What Elisha was explaining, you just turn that over a little bit for the semi-Western.
Yep. If you're lining up your knuckle right with that logo, right with the Pickleball Journey logo right there, yep. All right, here we go. Let's try it a few times. Get comfortable with it. The backhand, there you go.
Nice. Nice. Now, one other thing I see right away is there's a lot of movement at the kitchen line. And this is often a mistake beginners make. They're kind of moving up and back. One thing you want to do is kind of plant your feet at the kitchen line. Okay. So you're going to actually try to hit some of these balls out of the air. Elisha hit me a couple here. I'll just show an example. I'm really just staying pretty solid here, and I'm actually looking to step into the kitchen if the ball goes short. You can step back, but again, as much as you can, you want to stay at that kitchen line.
Yep. And so one thing, a little rule that you can follow here is if you're in your ready position, you get one step to move wherever you want, and then you got to move back to where you are. So you can't take two steps, okay? You only take one step, and then you go back to the ready. One step, back to the ready. So you can only go one step any direction.
Nice. Nice.
That's looking good.
So quick pop quiz, what is this called that we're doing right now? Dinking.
Yep.
We're dinking at the kitchen line.
Yep. And the last tip, I don't want to overcome you with a ton right now, but you're doing so well, so I'm going to throw it in there. You're really smooth with your forehand, so your wrist moves through the ball at a very constant pace, which shows a lot of control. But when you go to the backhand, you do this little flip, right? And so we want to avoid going fast like that with the flip. Try to do the same thing on the forehand where you're nice and smooth as the backhand, just smoothly move through the ball, okay? So try it a couple times. Oh yeah. Nice.
Nice.
All right, Victoria, we're gonna start with dinks, and what I'm gonna have you do is you're just gonna transition back towards the baseline, okay? Just keep moving backwards, yep. Nice. See how you do. Ooh, that
Nice.
was a good job. Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's a natural.
Good. So Victoria, are we using that same grip? Perfect. So, and then for the backhand, when we hit a few backhands, feel free to use same grip on the bottom hand, but you can even add a top hand if you want it, or not. So either one, you could try both and see which one you kind of like as we
But
kind of hit a few.
for a lot of beginners, we like to use that same grip anywhere in the court, forehand and backhand, because it's just easier. It's a kind of a quick pace game, so you don't want to. It's not like tennis or another sport where you're trying to switch the grip, but really keeping that same grip pretty much for every shot.
Yeah.
Nice. That's great. Good get. Nice.
Good. So one thing on the backhand, and we'll have Justin show you right here actually. I'll have him jump in, Victoria, and kind of scoot you to the side. You're good right there though. Is we're doing the same thing as we were kind of doing on the dinks. We're kind of flicking our wrist into the ball. And so if we can lock that wrist, right, and move through the ball nice and smooth without flicking that wrist, it's a lot easier way to start. Eventually you're gonna be able to snap through it and hit amazing shots, but just to start out, it's a good way to keep the control, right? So Justin's gonna show you right here, just nice easy shots. So just see how he just has good control of the ball and the direction
Just
that it
giving
goes.
nice
and
margin
he has
for
a
error.
good angle to his paddle too.
Yeah.
One more, a couple more, Justin, let's show.
So a lot of these balls, notice I'm giving myself good net clearance, so it's not going in the net. Some nice height over the net here, and I'm just locking my wrist.
All right, so let's try that out on the backhand.
That through. Nice.
What do you notice about the sound of every shot that Justin hit versus yours?
Mine are kind of a deeper kind of sound, and his were a little bit of a higher pitch, accuracy.
Sure. Now, paddles obviously make a massive difference in the sound of the ball, but I'm more talking about the consistency, right? When he hit the ball, it sounded the same every single time. When you're hitting the ball, it's maybe deeper and then louder, or like higher pitched, lower pitch, middle pitch, right? It just sounds a little different. So that means we're hitting the ball in different spots on our paddle. So let's combine our focus with locking our wrist is hitting it in the middle of our paddle every single time, okay? I know you don't have a target on yours, but you know. Right, here we go.
Nice.
That's a great ball.
Yeah.
Good. So without you knowing it, you're hitting beautiful drops, what we call drops. Now, drops are where you're putting the ball between the net and the kitchen line, where I can't really take the ball out of there. And if I do, I'm taking it out lower than the level of the net. And that's what we want to do in order to get to the kitchen line. So that's a drop. And then when we hit a little bit harder, okay, it's called a drive. So right now what I want you to do is I want you to kind of try to go between the two. You know, experiment around a little bit. Forehand or backhand, hit one hard to me, and then try to hit it in between maybe. But keep the net clearance nice and high, okay?
Nice.
Nice. Oh,
Nice shot.
Winner.
Now one thing too, just as you're hitting, you can keep going. Make sure on every one of your shots, you're transferring your weight forward. So you don't want to be moving back as you hit, but you want your weight moving forward.
Yep. That's a great tip. Good.
That's all right. Nice.
Nice.
That's good. I like how you're taking a step back, but then still coming forward into the ball. Nice. Nice. Also, be sure to check out Victoria's YouTube channel. She just hit 1,000 subscribers. She's got a fitness channel, all about fitness, health, Victoria Dorsano.
Oh, looking good. Good. So one thing I noticed, you got some great footwork. Like you, sorry, I take that back. You got some fast feet. Okay. So being a fitness person, like you're quick around the court, right? But we don't necessarily want to take a ton of steps because that gets us in trouble, especially with the transaction and how fast the ball goes back and forth. So make sure that we get to where we need to be in the least amount of steps. And if we need to make a small adjustment, we can with our body, but we try to get back with the least amount of steps. Because if we're moving our feet while the opponent's hitting back at us, we're not going to be able to get in position for that next ball. Yep. All right, so let's try that right here. So make sure that when I hit the ball, our feet are not moving. We're ready. On the balls of our feet. Just moving.
Nice.
Good drop.
Really good. Nice.
Oh yeah. I didn't even think I was going over. Good. I'm really curious to see how you do with a full swing though. So let's do a couple, because you've kind of just been bunting through them a little bit.
Yeah.
So let's see a drive where you actually take the paddle back, and what I'm gonna ask you to do is really turn the shoulders and almost swing through it and follow through, right? Here we go, let's see it. These are called drives. Yes. Let's try to aim. Yep, high over the net. Yes,
Nice.
very nice. Here, a couple more. See a backhand. Good. Try two different backhands. Maybe the one-handed. Yep.
Yeah, so a lot of times for beginners, it's good to try out both the two-hander and the one-handed backhand and just see which is more comfortable for you. Say more people use the one-hander because they just don't know how to use the two-hander.
Yep.
For that two-hander, you're just gonna plop that left hand pretty much right on top of the right, and then you're gonna swing over it. But again, just try them both out and see what's most comfortable.
Yep. And I'm asking Victoria to hit the ball a little hard now because she's shown such consistency with a softer ball. But if you're not getting consistency with the ball that you are getting soft, then make sure you still stay with that until it is, and then we can kind of gradually hit harder too.
Yeah. Nice. That's looking good.
Woo! Very
I
nice.
think it's going to be a two-hander for Victoria.
Yeah, right?
That was nice.
All right, let's move on to some serve. How about it?
Let's do it.
So Victoria, we're gonna have you do some serves next, okay? We're gonna be aiming past the kitchen line into that box cross court from our position. The only rules is you can't hit it, you gotta hit past the line and in the box, and then you can't step across this line until you've made contact. And then you can step in and do whatever. What we'd recommend is transferring your weight first and then back up afterwards, okay?
Yep.
So just hit a few balls and then we'll see how you
Two more things. You can either hit it out of the air, so
Sure.
you basically just hold it here and you hit it. You can't contact above your waist if you do that, or you can drop it and hit it. So let's start just hitting it out of the air and see how that feels. We'll get into hitting.
Do you guys, is it like a little toss kind of deal? Or?
Show us.
Yeah.
See what you're comfortable with.
Nice. Perfect. All right.
You can't drop it in the kitchen, right?
Exactly. So it's
Correct.
got to go past
And
the
if it
kitchen
hits
line.
the line, it is still out because the line is part of the kitchen.
Nice. Nice.
So one thing I'm gonna say real quick is I like your room for air, but the ball's landing a little bit short. So we talked about this before with the drives, is that we get we hit them a little soft because we're not used to how slow the ball goes, right? So feel free to really, because we're talking like I'm not standing at the kitchen anymore. Your opponent's standing behind the baseline on the other side. So you can really come through this and it's not gonna go as far as you think it's gonna go, at least for in the beginning.
Nice.
That's a great serve, so it's nice and deep. Ooh. So that's a little out, but now you're getting a feel for it. I always say this to my students, tennis and pickleball, is that make sure you're not making the same two mistakes, right? So if you're hitting it short, then make sure that your next mistake is deep or out, deep, right? So that you're getting a feel either short or long, and you're not making the same mistake, because then you're just gonna drive yourself insane, right? Here we go. Exactly.
Nice.
So it's about middle of the box, a little deeper. Right. A little bit different sound there, right? So maybe contact. There you go. So that's the contact we want to hear. That sounded clean. The other ones felt sounded a little off. Yep.
One
so
thing
right there, right?
One thing to be aware of too, and we see this a lot, you're naturally just taking a step forward. So just give yourself a little space. Sure. If you're playing a game, you don't want to step on that line. Just a minor thing for now.
Yep.
But your stroke looks really natural. It seems like, does it feel pretty comfortable? It doesn't feel awkward, or it looks.
More so the contact point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Try a drop. Try a drop serve, because a lot of times that's easier for a good contact. So you're just dropping it and then hitting it.
Nice.
Good. That's a great serve.
One thing I'd have you do, it looks like, and when you were just holding it, you're kind of starting here. You're going to get more power if you start back here. And it's almost like a little bit like a pendulum, right? Where you're using that momentum to get a little more power through, and then you're finishing out in front.
Yep.
So you can start back. Nice.
But Justin, why don't you take Victoria's spot for a second and just show her.
I'll show a quick couple serves here. So this is just the regular serve.
That pal's back, and he just turns through. And watch his shoulders too. See how his shoulder.
And then the drop serve.
And then comes through with the turn. Yep.
Just pushing out towards the target.
Yep.
Do one or two more here. Nice. Woo. Gonna be taking out beginners out on rec courts pretty soon here.
That's a good
Watch
serve.
out.
Good.
Same thing, you're doing a good job of it, but just make sure you keep that wrist pretty locked. You don't want to be too snappy when you're wanting to have control. Yep. You'll see at the top levels, they maybe will use a little more wrist to get some more power, but for now, keep that wrist pretty firm all the way through.
On top of, it has a lot to do with what Justin's saying right now, is what determines the direction of the ball? What do you think? That's the question too. Right, so the angle of the wrist determines the face of where the paddle is, right? So wherever my face is pointing, that's gonna determine the direction that the ball goes. So right now, when you're coming through this, you're turning your wrist inwards, so then the ball is moving out wide, okay? So if we lock our wrist in a little bit more, okay, you're gonna get a little bit more control, and the face of the paddle is gonna be pointing where you want it to be pointing. Okay. As you get more comfortable, you can start to loosen that up, and you're gonna get more power from loosening it up, but that's as you practice. So start out by just trying to be a little more neutral with the wrist. Yeah.
Nice, that's really good. I think there's probably a lot of beginners watching right now that are jealous of how good you are just stepping on the court for the first time.
Come on.
Because this is impressive. This is impressive.
I'll be the devil's advocate. There are, on the other hand, a lot of people that start pickleball that feel like they're amazing, right? And then they go out and they play someone like Justin that actually is amazing, and then they get their butt whooped, and then they're like, I'm not good.
We're excited to partner with Engage to give away this brand new Pursuit RX 6.0. To enter, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment what type of video you want to see next. The winner will be announced on November 1st on our Instagram.